You ready? Hello, everybody. This is Deep South Para-Comi-Con, and we are getting ready just a month away for our event for this year, the 2024. And it's going to be held at the Ozark Civic Center in Ozark, Alabama on September 14th and 15th. That is a Saturday and a Sunday. And it will be open to the public at 11 a.m. and close at 7. On Saturday night, we will be having an after party at Benchmark Beer and Wine there in Ozark. Please look at our website and get a detailed information on the after party and on who all our guests are, because we're going to have some awesome guests and some awesome workshops and some awesome vendors as well, and a few entertainers. So y'all please make sure you go to deepsouthparacomicon.com and check us out. Stan Fikes is hosting with me tonight because Destiny is a little under the weather. So y'all have to put up with Stan tonight.
It's me.
Um, that's okay. We can deal with him. That's okay. Right, Stan?
Absolutely.
Okay.
People better get used to
Yeah, and we have an awesome guest on our show tonight. And I'm probably going to butcher his last name, and I'm going to have to apologize ahead of time to see if I can get it right. His name is Jim McDonough, and he is from Phenomenal Business Coaching, and he's going to be out at Deep South this year, and he's going to be helping us. Uh, I don't want to give away too much of what he's going to be talking about because I'm going to let him do it. He is the professional. So, welcome, Jim, to the show.
Very good. Well, thank you, Teresa and Stan, for having me. I really do appreciate being able to be here and share a little bit about myself with your customer base, your clients here today, and those that'll be here at the Comic-Con. And so I'm super excited to be able to be here. So thank you for having me.
You're welcome. It's going to be awesome. I know I have been learning quite a bit from you, and I know that there's a lot of interesting stuff that you're going to share with us tonight. And I just feel like there are a lot of people that's going to be out at the Para-Comi-Con that is going to be very interested in what you have to bring to the table, so to speak. So it's going to be awesome.
Okay. I'm excited.
So, Stan?
Hey.
You're quiet.
Yeah, I was listening. I agree with you 100%. I think Jim's and his company is going to bring a great uh, a great message to this atmosphere of this con. Um, you know, we all like having fun. We do these events to help the Boys and Girls Club and other things like that, and also for the Wiregrass to come out and have fun. But there's also a serious side, and people can come in and learn. And Mr. Jim is one of those guys that you can learn from. So, he's got some valuable information. And this is, again, it's a fun show, but tonight's going to be for serious stuff. So y'all listen up, take this man at heart because he knows what he's talking about. Isn't that right, Teresa?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I've seen him in action.
That's right. That's right.
So, Jim, tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
Okay. Well, again, thank you very much for having me. And what I'd like to kind of share a little bit about today is about a little bit about our business. But first, what I really want to ask those that are coming as business owners, and so those that participate, that come as spectators to be entertained, you're I think, going to have a phenomenal show because I'm really excited about what I've heard and just the different offerings that are available that Teresa shared with me, and it sounds like so much fun. And I think it'd just be an absolute blast. Those of you that are business owners, I really want to help you guys to really start to kind of think about how we're able to formalize our programs. And so, as in Phenomenal Business Coaching, that there's nothing hidden in that name. And so we're executive business coaches. And so what I'd like to be able to share with you is I want to ask you just a real quick question for those that are in the business, your business, a business without a profit is just a hobby.
Good job. Good
Okay.
job.
And so if you're in this to make money, you're in this to win this, we want to formalize a few things so we can make a profit. And with healthy profits, that cures a lot of business evils. And it helps us continue our endeavors, because if your business is just in it to make money, you're probably going to have a long-term issue, as in sustainability, because we need to have a really big why. Why are we doing this? Because there's going to be a lot of your efforts and a lot of things that are going into what you are trying to do. What are you trying to accomplish using your business as that vehicle? And so for all the vendors that are going to be here at the show and the sponsors that are here, we all have a cause, and that's our why. And so when we figure out the why, the capital WHY, and really try to really nail that down, because you're going to have a really big why. And if your dreams and your why doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. All right, especially if you employ some people, because your dreams got to be so big, it's got to encompass their dreams. All right. And at Phenomenal Business Coaching, we help small businesses transform their business into a predictable, profitable, and turnkey operation, so you can have more freedom in your life every day. So here's my first question. I'll tell you a little bit about me, but I want to ask a question. Do you remember why you went into business? Was it to make a little more money, have a little free time, chart your own course, be your own boss? Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
But we really find that. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Stan and I found out that our goals are a little different.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when we took that test with you. It's like, okay.
Oh.
So he's going to continue to work for the next 100 years.
There we go. So we did an assessment. And so when we really realized that, business is not just a bunch of rainbows and unicorns, and it's not easy. We find business owners that are struggling to keep their businesses afloat. We got some really some tough times that are happening right now. The Fed's doing exactly what it planned to do back in early 2022 when they announced exactly what they're going to do. And they're playing out the playbook perfectly. And so what I'd like to share with you is that we're not in the business we're not receiving from the business what we thought we went into business, because let's face it, the business possibly runs you. It did me for a long time, 24/7. My mind was on it. I was a slave to the business. I had very little family time. My business, it just consumed my mind 24/7. Just major stress, no real freedom. One word was really testing my religion, and that word was payroll.
Yes.
So my day was really spent putting out brush fires. The more people we added into the organization, the more complexity there was. And it just wasn't easy anymore. And I was moving further and further away from the clients who I love to serve and love doing the work. And then we just, we got into the business of being in business versus the business of serving people the way we wanted to do that. So for me in 2013, I was introduced to Howard Partridge and with Phenomenal Business Coaching. And Howard really helped me come in to really realizing where I was and what I was doing. And we did a business assessment, much like Stan and Teresa are talking about here. They said they did a test, but we did an assessment. And the assessment revealed almost everything that was going wrong with my business, because there were many days my business partner and I would sit on our front porch at our business, and we would be lamenting out there, why isn't this working? Why isn't this as easy as we thought it would be? This is tough. And of course it is. And the problem that I think we had is we had very successful military careers. Both of us did. And we made an error in judgment, thinking that just because we were successful in one thing doesn't mean we were going to be successful in another field.
That's true. That's true.
And that hurt. So we both came to the agreement we needed some help. We contacted the Small Business Development Center. They helped us really get up and get on our feet and straighten out our finances. That was an amazing opportunity there. So the first people that I would reach out to, if you were a small business making under around $300,000 a year, is contact your local Small Business Development Center. Huge resources to be able to help you there. And then we got to that $300,000 $200,000 mark. Now, our first year in business coaching, we were $268,000 in unsecured debt. The bank that we went to help us um, consolidated 4 loans, put it under one payment, and then took all of our existing terms and crushed them together and made them smaller than what we were paying, or than we were paying individually. So now I had a larger payment in a shorter period of time. And the bank that we went to that knew our situation about put us out of business. So you really need to consult with the Small Business Development Center first, so you can look at some real funding from programs from the SBA that will take into consideration your situation, and then not put you in a commercial bank or a national bank that does not have the lending and the underwriting for certain loans for small businesses. So do your due diligence, and it will really, really pay off. That year that we were $268,000 in unsecured debt, we were financing our future on credit cards and American Express. And so we were really tied to working for the bank and working for the credit card company. And the government. That's who we were really working for. And so that year we only made $157,000 in gross sales. You can do the math. It was a train wreck. So we got in touch with Howard Partridge. We started learning the secrets, the 5 secrets of a phenomenal business. We started retooling ourselves. We started growing ourselves as leaders. And now today I can say, after 30 months of meeting Howard Partridge and the Phenomenal Business Coaching Program, 30 months later, we cleaned up all of that debt, paid it all off. We took 0 profit from the company, and we paid off that debt to get that crushing weight off of our shoulders. Now, we weren't really popular with our wives, but we let ourselves into that mess. We had to lead ourselves out of that. And that's what we did. So we were men of our word. We kept our team on board, and we all got through it. And so, and if it wasn't for Howard Partridge and the Phenomenal Business Coaching, we wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have my relationship I have with my former business partner. I bought him out 3 years ago. This was a classic example of the right person on the bus in the wrong seat. Not everybody is cut out to be an executive and a business owner, and that's okay. You can hire fractional CEOs, and you can hire people that can help run your business if you're the operator, if you just want to be involved in being the technician, which is fantastic. Many doctors, lawyers, dentists, chiropractors, they're all technicians inside the business. They build a business around their technical skills, and that's perfectly acceptable. So what we look at is we retooled the business, and now today I am turnkey. I live in Dothan. My shop is 40 miles away. I'm really at the shop only 4 hours a week. And Teresa and Stan know that I invest most of my time, and I got a huge passion for small businesses. Specifically, I love raising and developing the human capital across small businesses in the Wiregrass here in Southern Alabama. That's my passion. So many people poured into me when I was hurting, when our business was suffering, and financially we were over our heads and unprepared for business, that these folks that were out there, these resources that we were able to tap into, literally changed our lives, because I wouldn't have my family today. I don't think I'd be married, and I wouldn't have the relationship I have with my daughters. And you cannot put a number on that when it comes to. So that's a short story right there. And I looking at the clock, that was 14 minutes, but that was quite a ride. And I've been in the Phenomenal Business Coaching for, this is now our 10th year. And I believe in it so much. It's kind of like Hair Club for Men. I believe in it so much. I bought a franchise, and I'm coaching other small businesses to avoid the pitfalls associated with small business ownership. So there you go.
Okay, cool. So, like I said, we have been getting some coaching from you too, and it's been awesome. It's been making us think a little bit differently about things. So that's something that I feel is really good for me and Stan, because we see now which direction we want to go with our business, and that helped us tremendously. But I do have a question for you.
Okay.
I'm going to start off with, what are the different types of coaching that you do?
Very good. So we're going to find that primarily a coach is going to have a discipline, and they're going to have their left and right limits. There are many types of coaches in many different disciplines, but here's kind of a rule of thumb. And any coach worth their salt would tell you this. They would say one coach is not enough. And here's how I say that. So when we're looking at professional ball players, whether it's basketball, baseball, or football, and we look at the great Michael Jordan. In the height of Michael Jordan winning national championships with the Chicago Bulls, Mr. Jordan, he had 8 different coaches. They tooled and did different things because one coach is not going to have the depth or the breadth of the services or the scenarios and or the experience to really guide you through your specific situations. So if you're seeking a coach, you're going to want to really do your due diligence on what is your problem. And then is that coach ideally suited based on their experience to guide you out of that problem? So when we look at different types of coaches, you're going to find them in really 2 categories. They're either going to be arranged around your personal life, and then the other one would be more of a business executive coach. And there can be others as well. Okay. And so when I say coaches, you may think of traditionally, this is either going to be a life coach or a business coach, but there's other coaches that you already have in your life. And when I say these things, you're going to go, oh, these people are coaches. I have a spiritual coach. I call him my pastor. I have a medical coach. I call him my doctor. All right. And so when I'm talking to my financial advisor, that's my financial coach, because I don't want to be involved in all of these things because I can't do it all. There's some people that are listening to this, and I used to be one of those people where I thought I could do it all, but then I got to a point in my career and life where there's just not enough time in the day. And I got to really look at what can I do with my time to maximize my economic engine. And so how does that come into play while having a balanced family life? And so if you're building a lifestyle business and you're looking at how to tool that and make that proper, these are some things that you need to look at. Do you have a coach in a few areas of your life where we start talking about physical, mental, and spiritual, mind, body, and spirit? These are the 3 things that have to be tended to every day. And then we're looking at financial. What's your personal life like? What's your career like? Okay. What's your family life like? And then what is your mental state? All of these could have a coach and have in those 7 areas of life. Of those 7 areas of life that I just talked about, which one does God want you to be unproductive or not so phenomenal in?
Oh, wow. I haven't thought about it like that. No.
Wants you to be successful in all of them. But would it be safe to say if you were to look at those areas of your life that we could use some improvement in some of those areas? So that's what we're talking about. Where do you find yourself? Because if you do an assessment, you find these low areas for low scores. These are your personal weak link in your chain. And that's the ceiling. The lowest scores in these assessments are the ceiling of which you're going to be able to use all of your talents, because usually it's some low area in your personal life that will transition into or bleed over into your professional life that limits you in that field as well. And so it's just really nice to have someone listen to you. How important is it for you and your audience to have someone listen to you about what you're feeling and what you're thinking? These are real important things, right?
Oh, okay. Yes. Oh, yes.
So those are the areas that we talk about when we're talking about the personal life. And my mentor, Zig Ziglar, who's passed away, but I am in business partners with Tom Ziglar, Zig's son. And so the proud son of Zig Ziglar is Tom Ziglar and Howard Partridge. And these are the franchisee owners that I have partnered with. And so I've got direct access to Tom, and I've gone through a lot of Zig's coaching, but I was listening to Zig back in 93. So that was pretty cool to listen to Zig. And I was up in Fairbanks, Alaska, and I'd be using cassette tapes. And in the wintertime, I had to warm my truck up for 30 minutes just to drive. It was minus 60 degrees. And I could never leave a cassette tape in my player, because if it started up when it was cold, it would just shred my tapes.
Oh, wow.
So that was just the place where you lived at. But in '93, I was starting to listen and learn Mr. Ziegler's philosophy. And he was really big at getting one area of life right, and that was self-image. We all suffer in some area of our life with some self-image issues, and that carries with us no matter who we are or what we do through all different times of life. And so when we get the man or we get the woman right and we get the self-image right, we then get
Mhm.
the professional right. We
That,
have a greater
that's true.
opportunity there. So yeah, in the business world, we're looking at basically 5 functional areas: leadership, self leadership, then organizational leadership. So we talk about leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership. I'm a large John Maxwell fan. I read a lot of Maxwell's books, and he is probably well, he has been quoted as being quoted. He's been folks have called him the greatest living leadership expert on the planet. And so he does so many talks on building leadership. And so leadership, everything rises and falls on it. Then the other commodity areas are marketing, sales, operations, and administration. And so each one of these areas have some questions that we talk about. But I want to ask you a question. So we
Okay.
did an assessment, and without getting too personal or deep in the weeds, just doing the assessment, what did you learn about how you thought you were thinking about your business before the assessment? After the assessment, what kind of realizations did you and Stan come to about your business and what the assessments revealed?
Well, I think with me, I was trying to do too much and not sharing with my team. I think working better with the team is where I need to focus. Just letting go and trusting that other person to do what is necessary and stepping back, because one of the things is I really don't want to work till I'm 100 years old. I would like to just sit back and enjoy it sometimes and not have to work as hard, because that was one of the reasons I did go into business for myself, was so I would have more time to travel and more time to spend with my family, which is growing quite large now. So
There
that
you
was
go.
one thing with me. But I think when we did it as a couple, we realized that we both have different goals. We want the same business, but we have different goals for it. And so that's something that he and I had to talk about and kind of do some compromising on it. So we
Great.
still get a little heated over some things, but um, I do admit I have anger issues. Stan will agree. So, but after I calm down for a little bit and think about it, I come around. So,
Very good.
but that's it. That's it with
Okay.
me. It's just relaxing enough to trust someone else. That's a big issue.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that, and thank you for being open and being vulnerable. And it may seem like just the three of us, and I can't see based on your dashboard, Stan, how many people may be watching this or not, or any comments that are coming in. But Stan, what did you learn about yourself, your relationship, this business, and just through the assessment aspect of it? How did that? What were your thoughts on that?
Well, some of my issue is I am totally different in some ways with Teresa. Um, I am more of a hands-on person. Um, I'm not really one to just sit back and just kind of be the boss, if you will. Um, I would rather get out there and illustrate. You know, this is the way I want it done. This is the way it needs to be done. That type of thing. And me looking forward to the future. Um, sure, I would like to sit back and watch the business go that we've created and work for itself and that type of thing. But without some sort of input, and I believe without my input, I don't think that it's going to progress that way. So I have that mentality of, okay, I've got to get in there and make it go that way. So I've got to kind of watch the way I do things, and I do need to listen to Teresa a little bit more, I think, She does have some great ideas, and so we did, like you said, we had some heated conversations. It wasn't an argument or anything like that, but we did have. I mean, it was pretty intense there for a little bit,
Yeah.
and but I know exactly how she feels now. And that assessment actually helped her to be able to communicate that with me.
Mm,
And the same with me. I was able to, okay, well, this area is the same as yours, but this is why mine is lacking, and I was able to communicate with her. So
there we go.
we're trying to put all that together, and we'll get it done.
And,
There you
and I
go.
think maybe it's that way with most partners. Now, me and Sand are partners in the business, and we also have Shawana Coleman, who is also helping with our business as well.
Mhm.
And I think even she has set us down and said, "Listen here, children, y'all got to do this better. You got to do this." And I'm like, So she
Ooh,
refers herself as the auntie in the group. She says we are the parents, and she's the auntie. So that's how we are portrayed, I guess.
there you go. Oh,
So,
that's awesome.
and I do think about my team, even though some of them are a little older than me. I still think about them. This is my family, and I
Mhm.
have to take care of them. And so, if I see that they're stressed out, I gotta just take up the slack, which puts more stress on me.
Right.
And so, I'm not sleeping very good at night because I got too much to do.
There we go. So you're feeling that stress too, and we're thinking now as you get closer to your event, do you find yourself sleeping less and less and less because there's more and more to do, and we got to do it now. We got to get it done. Crunch
Yes,
time's
yes,
coming. Yeah, there
yeah.
we go.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that has to be done, and what people see when they come to the con, is that they see the end state. This is now you're actually executing it. But just like,
Hmm.
a service company, the easiest thing we do is put the truck in the driveway and do the work. But it's all the
Yeah.
marketing, it's all the selling, it's all getting it there, it's all the logistics, the transportation, it's the written systems that give us the consistency to be able to produce a product or a service over and over and over and over again and getting the same result. So I
Right.
love when people say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. The real thing is when we change our thinking the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. That's insanity. When we change our thinking, we change our actions. We change our actions, we change the end state, we change the equation. Okay. And so when we start looking at what is success, it's following a set of instructions and doing the same thing over and over and over again and getting the exact same result. That's
Yes.
success. It's consistency. So part of what we do in phenomenal business coaching is really help people understand every habit you have is a system that you use every day. So if you are unhappy with an area in your life, you have to look at that system you're using. I would write that system down on paper because these are your habits. And a checklist is nothing but a habit written on paper so you can follow it every single time. If the habit or the checklist is delivering an undesirable result, we have to change a step or two in the process. So we change the input to change the output. So you change what you're thinking, you change what's going into your mind, and you will change your life. So you choose a different pathway. We actually hold all thoughts captive, excuse me, and then we evaluate the decisions that are coming into us. And we look at that evaluation, that decision based on the end state and our goals. And most people don't write down their goals. What do they want? What did we talk about? And you two have been together for years and in your relationship for a long time, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So my wife and
Hmm.
I, Amy, we've been married for 33 years. I dated her for 6 years because we started dating really young. And so 40 years I've been with Amy, and we have grown to be many different people.
Hmm.
But there's things that we talk about on a regular basis is what do you want, sweetheart? What do I want? Let's compromise, because when we don't compromise and we don't communicate properly, there can be some spirited discussions, but never
Yeah.
disrespect. Never
Well,
disrespect and anger. But I go ahead.
I was gonna say with me and Stan, we started working when we were kids. I mean, really, 12 years old. I was 12 years old when I started working for someone else,
Mm-hmm.
and I would work and early in the mornings and get up, go to school, come home, go to work, and then I'd work all weekend. I worked during the week for one person and on the weekend for a different person. This is when I was 12.
Right.
And, so it's always been working two, three jobs at one time. Uh, then after high school, when I moved out, I just continued on. And then the babies started coming. And then that meant I needed to get more money to provide for them. And and say relationships during that time was not good.
Mm-hmm.
Went through two divorces, still got to work them two, three jobs, make ends meet, and decided that I'd had enough with having babies. So I cut it off at 4. Then I met Stan. Yeah. And he was basically a lot like me. He worked two, three jobs, but he brought to the table two more children. So
Okay.
we're like the Brady Bunch. We have
Mm-hmm.
6 children. Um, but he and I both still wanted to work the same way um, and still provide for our 6 children. And so one day we got up and there's no children living in our house. And we didn't know what to do.
Right.
We actually had to talk to each other
Hmm.
and not have to say stop doing that, quit. you
Right.
know, it was weird. And that's when we decided, okay, so we don't want to work for someone else. Why are we working for them? uh, they're getting rich and we're just not going and doing anything.
Okay.
We don't have that satisfaction. This is not ours. It's never going to be ours.
Right.
uh, and some of the places that we work for just like did not make us feel good about ourselves. Let's just say it that way. So that's why we decided that we wanted to start our own business, and we did try different things. We did we did photography. We did actually it was photo fundraising that we tried. We tried just doing regular photography as well. Um, we did we was getting into we're going to do these craft stuff and we're going to go to the flea market and we're going to go to this flea market and we're going to make lots of money doing this stuff. Wrong.
Okay.
No, we didn't.
I love
And
it.
then our daughter got sick. She
Mm.
was 19. She had a newborn baby, 4 months old, and she was married. She got very sick, and my instinct was I couldn't leave her side because I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
if that was going to be the last time I ever saw her.
Right.
And
Scary.
and I was working for an insurance person at the time, insurance company, and I called him on the phone and said I'm on my way in an ambulance to Birmingham. They were flying her out there to see if they could save her life.
Mm.
And what he said was, well, I know you can't come to work, but you still need to meet your quota. So when you get there, sell to the nurses and doctors on the floor. And I'm like, in that state of mind, I was not nice. Like I said, I have anger issues. And this was about my daughter. And I practically, what we done was her husband, Stan and her husband was following us, trying to stay up with us. And we took her 4 month old baby and handed it to her sister. Nothing, no diapers, and he was breastfed, so there's no milk, nothing. And we left, and I just never returned back to work after that. She had encephalitis and meningitis, and
Mm.
she had gone for more than 2 weeks with it,
Wow.
and she suffered brain stem damage.
Mm.
So she lost memory. She didn't remember her baby. She didn't remember being married. And it was kind of funny because this guy come in and said he was her husband, but he didn't remember her. And then after we got her home, he decided to leave.
Yeah.
And we had to take care of her. And I had to figure out how to make a living and keep her.
Right.
So that's when I went into the writing business, and that stuck, the writing and marketing business. And because it was something that I really always just wanted to do,
Okay.
it was a hobby, and I worked at it. And it was every night after she went to bed, I was up late at night, still pulling that same mentality, work during the day to take care of her and the baby. And then at night, I pulled a 40-hour shift basically for that week, writing for
Hmm.
nothing.
Hmm.
And so I think that actually is what started paying some of our bills. And I liked it. So
Well, there you go.
I spread it out. And I think Stan was there. He's working all the time and supporting us, and while I was learning to take care of her. Of course, I seen him pick her up when she was 19 and cradle her like a baby and tote her around because she could not walk.
Mm. That's
So,
love. That's love.
you know,
Wow.
and that's what really turned us around, I do believe, was having that. And they was able to get rid of it. Um, Her memory has returned, and she can
Oh.
walk and run and play and do all the
Oh.
cool stuff. And she got remarried to a. He is a lot better than the first one. Let me just say that he is an army guy,
All right.
and
Gotta watch out for them
he,
army guys.
yeah, he has he has her
Good.
training. She says, "Mommy's got me crawling on my belly, on my elbows with a gun, and practicing."
How
He
about
is
that?
training her.
All right. Well,
And
very
so some
good.
of that physical training has helped her because the damage caused her to have MS, so she has a lot of muscle issues. And that training that he's actually doing with her, she thought he was crazy to start with, but we have seen a lot of improvement in her mobility, and it was just great to see that. So it
Wonderful.
was definitely a blessing,
Yeah.
definitely.
Wow. Praise be to God for all that. Thank you for sharing that story, because I was waiting for the shoe to drop, and thank you. That I'm just glad that it
Mhm.
didn't. Boy,
Mhm.
how about that?
Yep.
Very nice. All
So,
right. So you
uh,
had some. Oh, go ahead. All right.
I was going to ask you, somebody told me to ask you this question.
All right.
Said, without names, what coaching story has touched you the most?
Okay. I would actually like to use a name if that's okay. If I can't, that's all right. I may use the program. All right. So
Okay.
so the one that touched me the most, and I've had many coaches, and in our service industry, we got two segments. We got an exterior cleaning segment, a division. We got an interior cleaning division, and both of these organizations that we get our reach back support have unbelievable love for people, and they put small business owners into business. And so those folks had coaches. The one that saved my family, though, was was me learning through the disc model of human behavior how to communicate. That's why I said you got to watch out for those army guys. 22 years in army aviation, and being a self-starter, being able to be out there, really operate on my own, and having the command give me the authority and the autonomy to go out and do things was really a just a privilege. But when I got home, I had challenges at home that I didn't have in the military. So, being a career soldier and then leaving quite often. So just at 22 years, Amy and I, we added up my time that I was gone, and 7.5 years of our 22 years of marriage while I was in the service, I wasn't home. I was deployed or I was in training, but I didn't sleep in our marital bed. So with
Mhm.
young children, that caused some problems. So I would go away, I'd come back, And I just thought I'd pick it right back up where I was when I left.
Mhm.
Well, that didn't work. And that frustrated Amy. And then so
Mhm.
we had to have we had a, what she calls the come to Jesus meeting. And she was
Mhm.
right. And she said, you come and go. I will handle the finances, whether you're here or not. I will raise the children, whether you're here or not. I want
Mhm.
you to know that you are free to go do what the career needs you to do, because this is providing me the opportunity to raise my children without having to work. We are
Mhm.
both winning, but we
Yes.
cannot fight against each other. She's smarter than me. I'm married up when it comes to that. And so she's one of my coaches too. She's my
Mhm.
mirror, and she's my feedback mechanism. I do these assessments, these life assessments, and I do them on myself. Amy does one on her, but every 6 months I'll have her fill one out on me, how she sees me. I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that is not a fun exercise, but I love her enough to listen to her and say, I'm not the best I can be. I'm not the best that God has put me in her life, and I fail at all the time. But I am listening, and I'm trying to be better for her, because we were teamed together, and God put us together, because we shouldn't, we met by circumstance or happenstance, excuse me,
Mhm.
and so it's just wonderful on how we were able to do life together, because she is she's my base. She's my power base. She's my secret weapon. She's the love of my life, and I'd do anything for her. She's my home.
Mhm.
Where I live in a box as long as she's there, and I'd call it home. And
Yeah.
so that's the wonderful thing about it. So the DISC model of human behavior was the program, and if you Google that, whatever, you're going to come up. You'll find the author and the gentleman that has helped us for a long time put that into training. So I have two very young, or had at one time very young. They're now 24 and 21, young ladies, as our children, and when they were younger, they were a handful, because I was gone and different things, and so I had to learn how to retool how I saw myself, how I was being seen and viewed by others, and how my speech pattern and my tone and my tempo was really damaging to softer personality people, introverts with soft personalities, where I was a very outgoing, strong personality. And so that was the one block of instruction, or the one area in which I really, that was the bulk of my change right there, was my ability to see who I really was, how I was wired, how I thought, why was I thinking the thoughts I had, and then realizing others were wired differently. We're all wired differently. And when we learn that communication piece, why do we think the way we do? It's because you're wired that way. There's a hard wiring, there's an environmental wiring. And when you figure those two patterns out, you can really learn yourself to adjust yourself to someone else, so you can make a connection, and then you can take it around your community. It's a wonderful thing. It starts in the home, goes to the business, goes to the community. And so the DISC model of human behavior was my favorite. It always has been my favorite. And I wouldn't have learned about it if I wasn't in phenomenal business coaching. That's where I learned about it from, because it's one of our cornerstones. So
That's cool.
that was a great question. So thank you for asking that. Yeah. Yep.
Um, Teresa will be back in just a minute. Her computer shut down.
Yep.
Um, so, um, so in your phenomenal coaching,
Mm-hmm.
um, how many how many people do you coach uh, as of right now?
Okay. So in the entire organization right now, Howard has about right at 600 coaching clients, amongst 8 other coaches inside the organization. And personally, I carry a client load of 26.
Oh wow.
Yep. I coach my directors, Scott and Nikki McMahon, in our service company, and they coach their managers. Their managers coach their younger team technicians. And so coaching is just like in the military. We use the word counseling, and counseling was used for both growth and for performance correction. And and so coaching is, for us, we look at, if you're having to discipline people in your workplace, you got a culture that needs work. And so if you're coaching people for better performance, it is so much better to take someone and coach them to success versus trying to leverage or shame someone or correct them into obedience. And so when we're talking about people inside the workplace, when we're looking at how many people are actively working in the business, and so 73% of most employees are disengaged in the workplace. Okay. And so when we look at 28% are actively working against the organization on the inside. So we have to be able to look at who is in the organization and who is actually getting the work done, because most of the work, 80% of the work is being done by 20% of the people. And unfortunately, in small business, it's the owner.
Yes.
Yeah. People standing around watching the owner get all the work done. Who cleans your building on the weekend and after hours? Most likely it's the owner.
Ha-
Hmm.
Have you been
Right.
keeping in at my job? Because that's exactly the way that happens. You know, so there's only really two of us in that situation that um, I'm basically the assistant manager
Mm-hmm.
and the main cutter because there's only one other cutter and that's the manager. And we have all these other people running around us and they're not they're not in a production state. Let's just say that they're supposed to be, but they're just not in a production state. And
Right.
no matter what kind of discipline that you try to then with them, it doesn't work. So that percentage is right on mark
Oh,
because
how about that?
yeah, I mean that's
Very
pretty
good.
amazing. You know how you can come up with that, but I mean that's impressive. It really is, and so you do that with everybody that you coach, right? I
Well,
mean,
we're going to move into an organization, and whether it's 3 people or 30 people or 300, we're going to look at what are the metrics, what are the KPIs that we're looking at, these key performance indicators. We're going to tie it back to a line on the financials, and then we're going to put a scoreboard up so we can put a line in the sand and say, today we made 7. Can we make 8 tomorrow? And the day after that, can we make 9? And can we do that without causing an accident or hurting people? Okay. We want to get productive and we want to get profitable. And so when we understand people, or we understand business, it's really comprised of people. You have people and you have clients inside the business, your workforce. You have clients outside the business, your customers. And so business breaks down to it's money or it's people, it's both. So you got to have a clear understanding of your financials. And anybody that's watching this as a vendor that's coming to the show, what I have experienced is about 70% of people that are in business have not taken a course of instruction in financial literacy, which means either going through Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University, going through Crown Financial Planning. There's others that are out there. Maybe just a minimum of reading Mike Malkowicz's book, Profit First, and understanding money management and how to pay yourself first so you can get the profit out of the company versus keeping it in the company, or worse, sending it right straight through to your people and not taking a salary. Because most small business owners work to put other people's food on their table and they don't even pay themselves. And that's a tragedy.
That's me.
yeah,
Yep.
That's
Yep.
me. I've
Yep.
done that, go without my pay because, I was worried that I wouldn't make the payroll and
Mm-hmm.
somebody else would be doing without, and
Right.
so I would not get paid. I would go for months on end and not get a paycheck.
Right. Yep. I hear you. I put myself in that exact same boat. Took us
Mm,
2 years before we put, $250,000 in debt. And
mm,
then, having other people taking advantage of that. And then really put all of our assets to sign for all of our assets as collateral. We could have lost absolutely everything, but we dug in deep and we got coaches, and that's what helped us. The value in having a coach is really to have someone listen to you and then know what you're going through, what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and then seeing the things that you can't see. It's not what you know, in business that's holding you back. It's what you don't know. And those that are listening, I don't know how many of you are avid readers, but leaders are learners. And if it's not coming into your head, if you're not getting curriculum into your head, you're not getting the training, and you're learning organizational skills and being surrounded by a community of like-minded small business owners for support, it can be a very lonely, isolating, shameful place. And all that space is right here in your head. If you were able to find a community and get into it and get the curriculum, the coaching, the support, the accountability that you need, I found all that. And I didn't need all of that. I thought I didn't need it because I came out of the military. I was disciplined. I had all these things. But what I didn't have was one or two skill sets that just blew our business up. And really what I found is there was about 30 skill sets I didn't have. You're one skill away from taking your business to the next level. You just got to know what skill that is and focus on the right training, and then be surrounded by community support. Remember that big why we talked about earlier today?
Oh, yeah.
That whys better be big, because there's going to be day you're going to make a 1-second decision. There's actually two of them. The 1-second decision, man, I'm going into business for myself. Enough of this. Michael Gerber calls that suffering from an entrepreneurial seizure. And then the next 1-second decision is, I am so sick and tired of this. I'm out. And you throw in the towel. 2 seconds will define a very long period of your life. It can be the most agonizing. You can interrupt that cycle of small business. And I say that's a cycle of small business because I love the Chamber of Commerce. And if you go to the Dothan Chamber of Commerce, they're going to give you a book when you're a new member. And it's the survival guide. It's actually listed as a survival guide because they know getting into small business, it is a matter of survival, because most people come in undereducated, underfunded, underequipped, overzealous, and with big ideas, grandiose ideas. And then reality hits them about year 2. And that's where most businesses fold. So we want to be able to give small business a fighting chance and develop their human capital, starting with themselves, develop their human capital across the wiregrass, because that's the area that you grow. Hold people accountable. Everyone's got to earn a living, right?
Right.
Most people just don't have the personality to hold someone accountable. Write your systems. This is the job. This is how we do the job. This is the accountability and the performance review. And then we take that and we show them what work's got to get done, put it on a scoreboard, and get out of their way once they're trained properly, and let them go to work. But we skip all those steps because we think we can help them. Has anybody that's out there ever said these words? I tell them and I tell them and I tell them. I don't know how many times I got to tell people what to do. Stop telling them. Start asking questions. The power of the question opens their mind. The destructive nature of a statement shuts them down.
It does. It does. I have actually done that. You know, what have you done today that like, what have you done today that's what accomplishment have you done today? What do you think you did the best today? And everybody thinks that I'm always teaching. That's one thing. They always think I'm teaching. And sometimes when I stop teaching and just be friendly, they don't get it. They don't understand it. So, that's the thing, because when I walk into a room, they're like, what's she going to ask me now? What have I, and they actually start thinking on their own. What did I do? I don't even have to ask them the questions.
Right.
They'll automatically start thinking, well, looking around, well, what did I do? And so I can tell her what I did. And then when I was, okay, great. And it's like, that's it. Yeah, you did a great job.
Okay.
Wow.
There you go.
So
when we take a different approach, we're able to open up people instead of be demanding with them, because when we're demanding with people, we shut them down. And when we take a different approach of building them up and helping them see their goals and everything that needs to get done in the business, and we tie our framework as the vehicle or the pathway to their objectives, then we're able to help them achieve their goals and dreams. And when we put their goals and dreams on the table at an interview, and you're able to get those goals and dreams out, you actually might have a good, happy, healthy, hungry, humble, and smart person that's going to come to work with you and not for you.
Yes.
Yeah. So recruiting's big. And so how do you recruit? How do you find talent? Have you ever said, I can't find people? No one wants to work. Just put the end on each one of those statements, for me.
Oh,
Oof.
yeah.
Or what I pay them, for how I treat them. Would you want to work for someone that stands up and you're in that ranks of that employer and that person says, I can't find anybody that wants to work today? How does that make you feel? Oof. Not very appreciated, right?
Right.
Yeah. We got to be careful with the power of our words. Have the ability to create nations. We have the ability to destroy a person in 2 words. So we're always going back to that self-image. Mom and dad can really do a lot of damage. The neighbor kids beating you up can do a lot of damage. Just just children in general, just strangers can just be so hurtful to people.
Mm-hmm.
Or they can
That's
just
true.
love on you and lift you out of the darkness. So, okay.
So
Yeah.
I know you talked a lot about, startup businesses, but what about the business that's been going for years? Maybe they are making a little bit of a profit. I do know a lot of people like us that has waited till their kids are on their own, and then they strike out to do the job that they wanted to do and create their own business. And they're seeing a little bit of a profit, but maybe it's not exactly where they want to be with
Right.
it, where it's actually what I call a career. To me, a job and a career is totally 2 different things.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and so what advice would you give those people?
Very good. So whether we're starting a second career or we're opening a business later in life, you've now got the bandwidth to possibly do that. The children are self-sustaining. You've got a little bit more free time. You've had some time to think about your life choices, and we're going to change the last couple of chapters of our working years in our personal book, right? Or we've been the technician and we've ran a business for 25 or 30 years. I've got a handful of folks that have been 25 and 30 years, but now they're getting up there in the age and their body is not performing like when they started their business when they were 20. So they start looking at, well, what is going to be my exit strategy? Or they're looking at leveling up. So part of that exit strategy might be to get a management team in place so the business owners can get turnkey and get out of the organizational chart so the business runs on its own, and then you're able to sell the business at a very hefty profit, or keep the business and let it just generate cash. Okay. And so there's many ways to do that. And so what we have to do is we have to sit down and really understand what the business owner needs, whether you've got 3 employees. And that's typically where I like to start at. If you haven't gotten to 3 employees, 3 years in business, making around $300,000 a year, and you are frustrated, well, the pain's not enough yet for me to have a conversation with you. Because we only change through pain. But there are people that have been in pain for 20 years doing this. And these are the ones that are true champions because they care so much about people. But you get to this point where you're like, is this worth it? What have I been doing? Or some things have changed on you. Life moved the line. Okay. Whether it's you or someone you're caring for, something happens because you may transition the business, not because of something that happened to you as the primary driver of the business, but what happened to a family member or spouse. Teresa, you talked about what was going on with your daughter. The line was moved by life. You didn't move the line and make it farther out there or draw a line in the sand. Life moved the line. Okay. And so that happens a lot in business. You've got a key person and that person's in a car accident, can't come to work, or worse. You have someone who suffers a stroke or a heart attack. It changes the end game. So build a business and sell it, or build a business and keep it, have it ready to sell. And then when you do need to exit, you can position it for sale quickly. And so
Okay.
whether you've got, 50, 75, 100, Howard in his program is taking people from 1 million to 350 million. Okay.
Mhm.
He's taken people from, like ourselves. We were a negative 258. And in 20, we crossed, in 21, we crossed the $1 million threshold in gross revenue. And at that year, we had a 27% net profit before taxes. And so that was wonderful in a micro market during the pandemic. And so
Yeah.
it's all systems. And so when you systemize the business, you professionalize the business, and you're able to understand that the business needs to be profitable. But profit's not the only thing. What happens if you have people problems, retention? We have a tendency to turn people over maybe at 3 years, and we start to see this trend. Why are we losing people at 3 years? What are your recruiting promises, and then the programs that lead to retention over the long term? Because a recruiting promise without a program is a turnover nightmare. Or
Yes.
worse, a transactional relationship is catastrophe, because the team members the employee at this point, they're not even a team member because they're not on team. You are buying a set of hands, and you are buying their time. And that's what your team members, if you ask them, what does the company purchase from you? If you were the CEO of your company, what do we buy from you? They will say, you buy my time. I don't buy time. Employers don't buy time. Businesses that really run well buy attitude, they buy effort, and they buy skill. Phenomenal attitude, maximum effort, and an amazing skill set.
Yes.
That I will buy that person's every product off their shelf every single day for the rest of their life at a premium. If they showed up
Mhm.
to work with a great attitude, phenomenal attitude, given a maximum effort, and they had just a maximum skill set, it'd be wonderful. And I shared this with our team members, because everyone in my service company knows this, and I call this the 5 B's. You will be climbing the corporate ladder when you do these 5 things. Be on time,
Yes.
be happy, be in uniform, be sober, and be following a checklist. And you will be on your way up the corporate ladder. But you fail at one of any of those, you will be walking out the door, because we are not the company for you. You got the
Right.
laughs on that, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I seen Stan laughing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Be sober. Yeah.
Be sober.
I know what you're thinking.
Yeah. We got service vehicles. You can't be driving around high or drunk in our wrapped up vehicles. That's a 10,000-pound death machine. I got 17 families. 17 families rely
Excuse
on
me.
you to be happy. Don't ruin sales. Don't ruin a customer for life.
Hmm.
Be on time. We depend on you. You depend on us. It's a
Hmm.
mutual relationship. I am looking for partners in this business. And when we do it right, everyone's on a pay for performance schedule. When we win, everybody wins.
Yes.
When one person loses, we all lose. So
Hmm.
huge team effort.
Agree.
Yes.
Make sense? Yeah.
Yes. So, one more question.
Okay.
What book should every business owner read?
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay. So if we're just starting out in business, to not get overwhelmed by books about business. And so there's books that are out there, and I'm going to put some out there, but these are really upper level books. And so go through Traction by Gino Wickman. Great book, great programs, but these are where you're somewhere in that $5 to $50 million range. And you could be starting out smaller, things like that, but that's not where most small business start, of course. Um, Scaling Up by Vern Harnish, wonderful book, very complex. Um, the E-Myth and E-Myth Mastery by Michael Gerber, two, again, very upper level books. For those that can grab a hold of them and grasp them, it's really great. Okay, let's talk this guy. Let's talk someone who doesn't like to read but will, because I know that I got to get things into my head. So whether I'm going to read it or I'm going to listen to it on Audible. And here's a little pro tip, little trick that I learned for myself is I read a book, I listen to a book 5 times on Audible. And then the 6th time I will read and listen to it at the same time, and then do all my highlighting. I'm programming my mind. It takes a little slow, but once it's in, it doesn't come out. And the
Yes.
book that I recommend you read is going to be Howard Partridge's 5 Secrets of a Phenomenal Business. And the foreword was also done by Zig Ziglar. This book changed our business. It's not difficult. It is simple business structure executed at the basic level over and over and over again. Business is boring because you're doing it every single year. Those that,
Yes.
just have these big, think they're sexy businesses and they're doing all these things, there's so much going on and there's this just a lot of, flash and lights and glitter or just super graphics and that kind of an experience. Behind that whole process and all that flash and glitter is a process that is just cookie cutter, one step at a time, guiding the customer through the pipeline from beginning to the end. And it happens
Yes.
thousands a day. Just look at a McDonald's. You look in the kitchen. It's all systems. They're all on the wall. And a teenager can run it. And the 28-year-old manager's making about $45,000 a year. And that store makes millions.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Boring, but effective.
Yep.
All right. And so you systemize the business, you work on self-leadership skills so the leader can turn into the talent magnet that will attract people to work inside the organization. You'll grow managers, and then you'll grow a phenomenal dream team that will run the business for you. Simple steps. And our clients do 2 things. They learn the systems, they implement the systems. That's it. All of our systems are written, they're on the shelf, all computer-based learning and a learning management system online for you at any given time. We are not going to send you a massive stack of books because you won't read them. You'll be overwhelmed the moment the box showed up at the front door. That's why you get a coach. Coach is like,
Yes.
you got a fire hose, and we turn on a little spigot at the end and drip it in as you need it, what you need, when you need it at that right time for your next level of growth. Okay.
And I think yeah, I think a lot of people are more hands-on learning and reading. And this sounds bad because I'm a writer. I think there's less people that can read a book and get that information even after reading it twice. I think it's more if they are reading and doing at the same time that they actually get a better understanding.
There you go.
And I know I do. And so I do treat everybody that way, I guess. Read this and let's do this and see if that helps them.
There you go.
So I think there are some of us, and I will say I have a brother that's like that, just reads everything and gets it to start with. And I'm thinking he is so totally opposite in the way he learns. But that's him.
That's
And
right.
we work well together when we do start a project. And yeah, because he does one thing and I do the other, and it actually fits together. So it works out. But
there you go.
That's a learning curve for us.
And that's what we need in business. And I remember an author one time said this, and it was Brian Tracy, and he made this statement. What would my business be if everyone in it was just like me? And I was like, ooh, that's scary.
Yeah.
All right. So, because I know what my own limitations are, and I don't need this huge gap in limitations. But there's also people that I have in the business that I don't jive with all the time, but yet they're a phenomenal child of God. And so our personalities don't line up. That doesn't mean they're bad people. It's just that we
Right.
communicate differently. Once I learned how they were communicating, and we have a big chart on the wall that helps us understand who I am, who they are, and how we talk to each other. And once I figured that out, and once we got it on the wall, all that stuff went away. All these weird feelings went away. Now I was just able to communicate and connect and get stuff done honorably without making someone else mad and frustrating someone. Like a bookkeeper, a C-type, cautious, calculating bookkeeper, I get so frustrated over finances because GAAP accounting is nice for the accountants, but I'm a business owner. I need to know where my money is, where it's at, how much is there, how it's segmented. And so when I ask for a tool and I need $500, I don't need to know there's $30,000 in the bank account. That tells me nothing. I need to know that for equipment, there is this amount of money and it's sitting over here. And yes, you can have it, or you can bring me the purchase order and it's available there. Or if it's not, you're going to have to wait till next month.
Yep.
So it's money management.
Yeah.
So you got to have
Yeah.
all kinds of people with different personalities in your business, because the world does not expect everybody to be the same. You need different people. You need people without stars and people with stars on theirs.
Right. Right. Well, we have actually went over our time. So,
Oh,
how can everyone reach you, Jim?
very good. If you want to talk to me directly, just email me at jim@phenomenalbusinesscoaching.com. If you want to learn more about and you want to go to my landing page, it's on the website right here. It's up on the screen, which is go to www.phenomenalbusinesscoaching.com/Jim, and you'll be able to see my landing page, a little bit about our program. And there's free business training. You can start there. You'll get on my list and we'll start feeding you free business tips. And if you're thinking about or would like to do more discovery and find out if coaching may be a pathway for you to success, let's talk. I would love to do a 90-minute consultation, and really it's discovery, because I may not be the fit for you, and that's okay. But I make you this promise. I will point you in the direction that best suits you and your needs, not my financial needs.
That's awesome. That is
Yeah.
very awesome. Cool.
Yep. Very good.
And Stan, would you like to make a few announcements about your upcoming events?
Absolutely. Well, our event, Deep South Para-Comi-Con, is September 14th and 15th at the Ozark Civic Center, Ozark, Alabama. We have a huge list of guests that, I mean, everything from horror actors to paranormal investigators, to performers to little children. So we're covering it all. We have a horror house. There's just going to be so much there to do. And of course, it's working at a good cause for the Boys and Girls Club. We're going to have a blood drive there. So I just invite everybody to come out. Go to deepsouthparacomicon.com and click on the tickets tab. It's right there under the counter. Get your tickets. Come out, meet Jim, meet Teresa, myself. We will. I'll give you a personal tour of the whole place. All you have to do is get with me, and we'll go around to every vendor, and I'll introduce you to them. And these guests that's coming in, they're phenomenal people. They're super. A lot of them's on TV. Has been on TV. William R. Perry, for example, the been in so many movies. Y'all just come out and talk with him, ask him questions, get his autograph. It's going to be fantastic. And if you get hungry, y'all come to the concessions, because we're going to have a all out ball there. And, we're going to have so many things. So I just invite everybody to go to deepsouthparacomicon.com, click on the tickets, get your tickets, go back over to the guest. You'll see each and every one of them. It goes right straight to their bio page. And these guys are, I mean, they're just normal people. They just have a different job than us. And, so we get to hear all these stories about how their business, they got started into things.
Yes.
So, that's just basically it. Come ask Jim some questions.
Yes. I do want to say also, we are having about 5 different workshops that is for $15, y'all. $15 a workshop. You get to learn some incredible stuff there. We're going to have some panels done on stage that's for free. We have to watch Stan around the bakers now, so please everybody help me watch Stan. He cannot eat all that sugar, so y'all help me watch him. That's what I'm asking everybody to do.
Yeah,
Okay.
y'all watch me eat some of it.
Yeah. But now, we're going to have some interactive games for everyone to play as well. That's free. Uh, Challenge somebody to come play a game with you, especially Stan. He likes to play some games with people. I won't go into a bunch of details on that, but y'all come find out about him. And I'm telling y'all, for all those that are worried about money and want to go somewhere and have a good time and it not cost a lot, it is $12 a person for the ticket if you buy online, and it's 15 if you buy at the door. But what do you get in to do once you're there for that $15? You can't go to a movie theater and get the same. Well, you get more than a couple of hours at this event for that same $15. I mean, it's a cheap place to go that you're going to have a fabulous time, meet awesome people, and just have, a great time. And then afterwards, we're going to go on that Saturday night. We're having an after party at Benchmark Beer and Wine. I'm glad you put that up there. Kept me straight. And here's the deal. If you show your ticket where you paid to get in, or if you're a vendor and you show your badge, you get 10% off. But now, did I mention the cosplay? Because we're having a cosplay contest. And if you come dressed up as your favorite character, not only do you get the chance to win a couple of $100 at the cosplay contest, but when you go over to Benchmark in your costume, you get 20% off your drink. And they provide non-alcoholic drinks too. So this is somewhere you can come as the family, and you can have your drinks that are non-alcoholic and still enjoy it. They have a stage. They have live music. I'm not sure who's supposed to be there that night, but you can sit outside or inside. Jim, I don't know if you know this, but American Demon Comics is coming, and Austin Light is the owner, and he likes to dress up as his character, which is a female demon. And he says he is definitely coming in costume again this year. He won our cosplay contest last year.
All
And
right.
he's gonna sit outside where everybody that drives by can see him, and he's gonna wave at them while he's drinking his drink. It's gonna be awesome.
Is he
So we may
local
have.
by chance? Where's he from?
He is from. Where's he from? Arab, Alabama.
Arab,
Ooh,
Alabama, yeah.
Alabama. Okay.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be great. That ought to be
Yeah.
a hoot. People would be like,
Yeah.
"What is that?" That'll be fun.
And yeah, we've seen a lot of people signing up for the cosplay contest. And oh, there he is. See him in costume. It's going to be fun. He has big black horns and everything. So it's going to be fun just to see all the people coming out in costume. And I heard some of the people from the office is coming in costume too. So that's going to be interesting to see how they dress up. It's going to be fun. We also have a best decorated booth contest, and the winner of that will come back next year for free. So I want everybody to get out there and start decorating their booths and making them look awesome. So he is listing our flyer for all of our guests. There are a lot of those guests that we have mentioned before. We have Ben Bracken from the Alabama Ghostbusters. We have Jeff Leeper and Maria Player. They are on the show Hulu's Repossessed. They did an episode in that and several other shows. Uh, Yes, and there is Jolene Fine. We know her.
Oh
She's
yeah.
got number one on Amazon for her book. So that is awesome. Very awesome. We have Letriana Terry Brown, who is one of the stars of Hulu's Repossessed, and she is an awesome lady. She's going to do about 2 or 3 workshops, and she's just out there, and she walks around and she hugs everybody, and she just whatever she could do to help them, that's what she does.
And her show just
And
started airing in Canada.
yes, it did. Big. She's flying out there tonight, I think, to actually do the grand opening for the show. Um, Yes, and this is William Perry. He actually starred in Nightmare on Elm Street. He took Robert England's place when Robert England was not able to finish the show. But he also, who better to get to do that than Robert England's stunt double?
Yeah.
And he is bringing the claw with him so he can get pictures with everybody with the claw. So it's going to be fun. He's hilarious. You'll love him. We have Jeremy Leonard. Jeremy Leonard's going to have a big, important part to play. Now, he is from The Ghost of Morgan City and 28 Days Haunted. He's known as the Cajun Demonologist. But he will be performing a wedding ceremony because Destiny and Michael Fox are going to be getting married at our con. They're, they're
Oh.
renewing their vows and everything. So it's going to be awesome. They are also did an episode on Hulu's Repossessed. They also have called the Fox Paranormal Chat on the Web Radio Network. Uh, and actually, Michael and Stan grew up a county apart. Didn't really know it until, the last few years. So they've been getting together and causing us to get in trouble. I will say that me and Destiny get in trouble because of Michael and Stan. And so you need to come out and talk to them and find out. Ask Michael about the green swamp. Get him and Stan together and tell about the green swamp. Yes, this is Blaine Rowan, and he is also on a podcast called Family Spirit International. He has been on the Science Channel, um, and he is a psychic medium and Native American shaman.
Hmm.
So ask him about his rocks. He will bring you some rocks. So ask him about those rocks. That's incredible what he can do. This is Jeff Leeper and Maria Player, and they're going to be there. They're coming all the way from Gettysburg. So, and he is an exorcist, and she is the nurse that assists him in the exorcisms that he does.
So
Yes,
cool.
and this
Yeah.
is Big Ben Bracken, our Ghostbuster friend here. He loves the Ghostbusters. He's part of the Alabama team. Each state has a Ghostbusting team that is affiliated with the actual movie Ghostbusters. And what they do is they raise money for local charities as well. And they have a lot of free stuff. Go ask for the Slimer Slime. That is going to be awesome. A lot of stress release. This is Matthew Brown. He is a professor in psychology, and he's going to be giving out some workshops for us as well. We're going to learn how to do it old school way with, like, I guess, some baby powder and some tape recorders and stuff. Uh, and this is Matt's mother-in-law. How about that? This is Judy Terry. She is a generational psychic medium. She has dealt with animals in the past. She has her and her husband actually were on TV training animals. So that is awesome. She is also Lee Triana's mother.
Hmm.
This one gets me. Okay, I'm going to say EVP. This is Richard and Colleen. To me, the names are too similar. Richard and Colleen Johnson. They are a local paranormal team from Florida, and they have had some really interesting experiences, especially at Fort Morgan. And they're going to come out and tell us all about those experiences. What else you got for me, Stan?
Hang on a sec.
Uh
I'll be with you in just a second.
oh. Okay.
I had an issue for a sec.
Uh, okay. This is Scott Tipperman, and he is just produced Cruel Summer, Pray for Fall movie, and it has actually already aired. Did its premiere. Did its premiere, and one of our team members actually did a little spot in his show. We have been teasing Dawn Kruger, no relation to Freddie. Um, but she had a small part to play in that, and she's going to be there as well, signing some autographs. What she played the drunken receptionist. Yes. Oh, and this is our friend Debbie Hawk Hutchison, and she is our cryptozoologist, and she's going to be telling us stories about the possibility of Loch Ness. And ask her what is wrong with the movie Jurassic Park. She will tell you about the creatures in Jurassic Park and how they don't fit. So she knows all about those. She can tell you the Bigfoot thing, how it's a possibility, and why they're called cryptids and stuff. It's very interesting to hear her talk about these things.
I'll have to. This will have to be the last one because I can't get to the others on my phone.
Oh, okay. All right. This is Faith Santiago. She is a 11-year-old that has some pipes on her. She actually auditioned for me, and it was just awesome. And she is going to be raising money to help her get to different field trips for her beta team. And she's been on several already and placed very high on those competitions. And she's going to come out and sing for us. And I don't think we have a picture of him, but Connor is coming, and he is 7 years old. And he is raising money for the American Heart Association for the Kawasaki disease research.
Kawasaki disease. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I see Shawana Coleman has finally getting here. And she is our other director, and she is over the cosplay. And she's had several people sign up for that. And as we said earlier, there is a couple of $100 for the grand prize of that. There is a youth division and an adult division. So y'all come on out and join that. And like I said, tickets are $15 at the door per day, and they are $12 online. Military, if you show your military ID, and you get in for $8. How about that? That is awesome. And like we said earlier, we are raising money for the Boys and Girls Club, and we are also helping Life South with blood drive. This they did really awesome last year. So y'all come visit the vampires. They're gonna need you. All right, and y'all, I think that is it for tonight. Thank y'all for joining us here, and thank you, Jim, for being our guest.
Thank you for having me. It really is a privilege, and thank you for listening to my story. I hope I added some value here to your event, because I think this is going to be just phenomenal for people. And thank you for bringing this to our backyard here in the Wiregrass. It's going to be so fun.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, everybody. We'll see you
Good
next
night.
week. What's that?
So, good
Okay.
night.
Let's see you next week with another great guest. So y'all have a great evening.
All righty. Bye
Good
bye.
night.